Hey guys, it's Kyle.
And Kelly.
So, trying to get some more ideas for videos, working on some others. Um, so, just kind of talking about it. Just gonna share some of our stories from our days traveling and cruising, our adventures. Um, so, what's one of your?
Oh, well, now this isn't about cruising, but it was prior to a cruise. He took me to Venice, and we got to spend 3 days going around Venice. And we got to learn so much about Venice just from our walkabouts. Because with the part of Venice where we stayed on the ocean part of Venice. There's two parts. There's a land part and there's an ocean part. And the ocean part is where all the canals are, and it's so no.
Well, yes, we were right by the canals. We were real close to
the more.
We were real close to the train station.
Yes, we were.
So we were right there at the beginning where all the canals started, and then you headed across the canals. But we were actually connected to the land. We weren't out in the middle of all the canals. We weren't. Well, edit that out.
Edit that out. Okay, so anyway, where we were staying, you couldn't drive. You had to walk everywhere. There were no cars in this area whatsoever. And I will tell you, it was kind of amazing to see. What did you think of our first Venetian breakfast?
If you're going over to Europe, all you Americans, be ready. Their definition of a breakfast is not our definition of a breakfast.
No, it's not.
If you stay at one of the hotels that has a true continental breakfast where it's a pastry, coffee, and juice, that's their breakfast. That's their breakfast over there. Pretty standard, except they serve cappuccinos, not lattes. And I mean a real cappuccino, not like a lot of us Americans that it's a cappuccino. No, it's a latte, because a cappuccino has this much foam. That much coffee. It's like an espresso shot of coffee and boom. That's what they serve.
Yep.
Not lattes where it's like this much foam, that much milk and coffee.
Yeah. No, it was not a latte. And our pastry was typically a croissant with butter and mixed fruit jelly.
It was very good.
It was good. It just, we sat down to have breakfast, and I was like, right, bacon, eggs, woo, woo, woo. And then I look at it and go, oh, okay. So not insulting. It was honestly very good. It was fresh baked pastry, which I'm a foodie. Oh my gosh, it was really good croissants. Really good croissants.
I'll be honest, watching the day to day.
Yeah.
While we ate breakfast, watching the delivery drivers there in Venice.
The hand trucks.
Oh, the hand trucks. Whoa. Holy cow, those guys, they had special hand trucks that they would push down to raise the front wheels and then lift up, roll on, because Venice is the city of stairs and canals, but all the bridges going over the canals were stairs.
They were stairs. They weren't ramps. They were stairs.
There were some that had been modified for ramps, but so if you're going to go to Venice, be ready for stairs.
If you're looking at getting your calves in shape or your glutes in shape, that's the place to go.
Tons of history over there.
Amazing history. Well, and there was that one. Okay, so we've been waiting around for this theater to open because we thought it's a Teatro Italiano, and so we thought we were going to go in and see this theater. And when it finally opened up, and this is the other half of the story, you can tell the other half of the story. When it finally opened up, we walk in, it's a grocery store. It wasn't a theater, it was a grocery store, but they built it in an old theater building. So since we were theater majors, we thought, oh, we're going to see this cool old theater. It was a grocery store.
The nightlife over in Italy was much different. The day-to-day was much different than, at least there in Venice. The grocery store only opened for a couple of hours, and the locals would go do their grocery shopping
at night.
At night, and really they didn't start eating dinner till like 10 o'clock, and you'd see all the locals out eating dinner, drinking wine, and it would take them 2 hours to eat dinner. They didn't rush it. They
enjoyed it
and enjoyed the company they were with. Very laid back. And then you had the hustle and bustle of nightlife going on kind of around them.
Well, all the shop vendors, the little street vendors, and they'd have all the light up toys, and of course the kids are screaming, mama, mama, and you know, see the lights up in the sky. And...
Well, I will be honest. I think Venice was fantastic to see so much history, but such a popular tourist place that a lot of the locals don't like the tourist because it has turned into, it is over tour. I can't think of the right word. It's such a tourist attraction that it's a tourist hotspot, and they cater to that.
They cater to that. It's a little commercialized, because you go to the restaurants and they're like pizza, spaghetti, lasagna, and I went, Italiano? I want to try some Italian food, and they looked at me like, oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't just they were advertising just pizza because us Americans want to go over there and eat real Italian pizza. Well, that's about all they offered anymore because that's all we would eat.
I had pasta negra, and the pasta negra was wonderful.
Venice right there on the ocean, so they had fresh seafood. Some of the places had the catch of the day, and it literally was the catch of the day, and it was for those people who love seafood, it can be amazing. So we had Venice.
Now, do tell them about the Italians and from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
You've lost me. I forgot.
All the shops roll up.
Was that in Italy or was that in Greece?
That was in Italy. Because we went to go look for something at 2, and we couldn't find anything that was open. They had all closed, and we couldn't figure out why. Why is everything closed?
No.
And then, yeah, and I mean, they rolled up the streets. It was really different. It was a I wouldn't say a culture shock, but a culture surprise.
Well, the culture shock in Italy and Greece was the amount of graffiti.
Yes.
And
how they treat graffiti.
And and that's kind of what I was just getting at. When we were going through Athens, we had a tour guide that said a lot of people will leave the graffiti up as people's voice.
It's the voice of the people.
Voice of the people to be heard. And there were some graffiti across the Capitol building in Athens because the people were so disgusted with the government, they had graffitied it. And the people left it because that was the voice of the voice. And around Venice, there were a lot of people that didn't like the cruise industry in Venice, and they were voicing that with graffiti.
Yes.
Yes. And then that was kind of the culture shock I had over there. Let's see. What's another story?
I've got to put in a video of you dancing.
No.
Yes.
No.
We've got to put in the video of you dancing sometime.
No.
We went to a vineyard, and it was, you could tell it was commercialized. It was overdone, but it was still so fun. The family that ran it went with it, and they said, okay, this is the dance, but this is also our culture. Are we doing it for fun? Yes, but this is also our culture. And it was so cool. They wore the traditional black hats with the traditional black pants and the white shirts and the red neckerchiefs. The gentlemen did. The ladies wore the traditional white garb, and we got up and we danced. And
now, wasn't that in Olympia?
Was it in Olympia?
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that was at Olympia, which we spent a couple of hours seeing the site of the first Olympics, and then we went to a vineyard and had lunch. That was part of our excursion, which we talk about in another video where things changed. We were supposed to go to Mykonos, went to Olympia. One of the excursions was to go see the site of the first Olympics, and then we went and had lunch at a vineyard. And the commercialized part is they had the things kind of set out where you could see the history of a vineyard, an olive grove, and an olive press and what they do with all that. And then we ate, and it was good.
Yeah, we ate. The food was amazing. The food was amazing. I think we did go visit 2 vineyards on that one. I think we might be getting those 2 mixed up because we had the one where they were like, we're serving Greek salad today. And we went, oh boy, Greek salad. What we think of here in the U.S., it's got lettuce, tomatoes, red onions, Kalamata olives, and the Greek dressing and feta cheese. Yeah, no. That's not what this was.
No, the Greek salad over there is cucumbers, onions, Kalamata olives, and feta cheese.
And tomatoes. They did have tomatoes, but they cut up into chunks.
No lettuce.
No lettuce.
But no, that one was in Olympia, if I'm not mistaken, and then we had the other one in like Corfu.
Yeah.
And that one was the outdoor vineyard that with dinner over there, very customary, as they offer you wine with dinner. This. And we have, what kind of wine do you have? We have red and we have white.
And then you went, well, is it a Moscato? Is it a Cabernet?
We have
red and we have white.
That was their wine, red wine. And it was their local wine. They did no Merlots and Cabernets or anything like that. It was a red wine and it was a white wine. Period. End of conversation. Let's see.
Which the Greeks are very there's no nonsense. It was actually kind of refreshing and fun. It was no nonsense. We went on the tour into Athens and we had a tour guide who was from Sparta. And yeah, I'm serious. She actually was from Sparta.
We had a
and
Spartan.
She says, "I'm a Spartan woman." You know, she looked like she could take you down, man. She's pretty good size.
And we had someone on the bus as we were on our way to the Parthenon. Want to argue with the Spartan
about the Battle of Thermopylae. Those of you who have seen movies
have your take. But she was also she had studied.
Tell her the movie.
Well,
the movie's the 300.
The 300, yeah.
There you go.
Well,
Battle of Thermopylae.
She had studied history through college. Had her degree in history. Greek history. Spartan
and she is
history.
Greek.
And anyway, all right.
She finally gets to the guy after he's argued with her for the fifth time. She goes, "You'll come off the bus with me. We talk later."
I don't want to get off the bus. Okay. All right. So, let's see. What are some others? We've made lots of fun friends, random people on the cruise lines. So the first trip I took her on, we went to. In one video, she talks about her beer run, but we went to Cozumel right after Hurricane Wilma.
Yes.
And we had done Discover Scuba, which, if you're interested in learning to scuba, never done it. About 45 minutes. We've done Discover Scuba like 3 different times. I want to get certified, just haven't done it. Good time there. Getting under the water with a tank strapped to you where you can breathe and slow down and swim and not have to hurry up for air. She accused me of just booking that for me.
He did. He did.
I admitted it.
But I did enjoy it.
She loved it as much as I did, where we booked it several more times.
Yes. Well, and on that cruise was where we met Lena, Lena was a physical trainer. We ended up at a table. So in the dining room, you get to have a table if you wish. You can always have your table to yourself, but if you wish, you can have a table and share it with some strangers, and you can meet new people. Well, we ended up at a table full of physical trainers. There were 4 physical trainers.
Two couples that were all physical trainers that worked together and were taking a trip together. And it was fun to kind of watch their bellies grow to the size of mine. And then like the last 2 days, they're like, we gotta go to the gym and our clients won't be happy if we come back out. And yeah.
That was pretty funny.
That was fun.
Well, we got to dive that shipwreck at Saint Martin. And it was the artificial shipwreck where they say.
It was a drug ship that the government had. They had arrested the people on it, and then they pushed it out so far out to sea where it could be sunk low enough that ships could go over it, and then they sunk it right there in the bay. Yeah. And yeah, that was an old drug running ship or cartel ship that they sunk many years ago.
But it was so cool because in Saint Martin, with the way it's shaped, it's a U shape. And there was a thunderstorm that day. Oh yes. And you'd hear that thunder boom, and then it would echo right away. So it'd be boom, boom.
Underwater, it was interesting. It was interesting. And so anyway, there's just a couple of fun stories. If you've got a fun story,
share it with us.
Share it with us in the comments.
We also have the Facebook group.
Facebook group. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. So anyway, guys, places yet to see travel. Check us out if you want to start planning that trip to share some stories.
Yeah.
Look us up and see what we can do to help you out.